Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. We have a Jack Benny special for us from 1970 with Phil Harris as the main guest, I suppose you'd say. There's lots of great folks on here. But I'm joined with John Henderson and Kathy Fuller-Seeley. And we also have Terry Phillips with us. And we just decided to have kind of a Phil Harris sort of week because this next year, this upcoming fall is when Phil Harris makes his first appearance on the Jack Benny Show. It's the anniversary of that. It's the anniversary of his last appearances on the Jack Benny Show. It's his anniversary of his first radio show. I don't know why all happened at this. It wasn't the same time frame, but all the anniversaries hit at the same.
He's channeling you. You're channeling him.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, this one's a fun one. Phil only appeared with Jack, as far as I can tell, 3 times in post television, and his we saw one. We talked about the 40th anniversary of Jack Benny, where everybody kind of turned back up, and Phil did a great job of coming there and singing "Row, Row, Row," and that was a nice performance. Then he appeared on Jack Benny's show in 1957. And that appearance is identical to this appearance. So they did the exact same bit. And I was thinking it's sad when someone's only going to appear with you like 3 times, and 2 of the times you do the exact same thing. But it's a good bit. So, but we'll chat about that. Let's swing it over to John. John, what did you think of the show? And
well, I loved the Phil Harris stuff, and the whole show, with the exception of maybe the ending. I thought was great. I loved the opening monologue. I thought it was hilarious. It was good to see him again, and his energy was really good in this episode, and the jokes were funny, and I thought it was a great opening monologue. And then Phil Harris comes out, and that just was just a boost of energy. And I loved the part where he's singing his song like he always does. So I'm settling in. I'm like, okay, here we go again. We're going to watch. That's what I like about the South. And then they twisted it on me, and I thought that was so funny, and I thought that was great. And the title of the show, it must have been a big book that was coming out, everything you always wanted to know about sex and was afraid to ask. So him calling his show that, and then talking to the guy, I thought was fun. The Q&A also was fun, and I wonder, some of it seems so real and some of it seems so fake. I wonder how they did it. Were they plants, or were they, just, I don't know. But I thought that was fun. And then the George Burns bit is always great to see George Burns. And it's always great to see them interacting together, because you can tell they're having fun. And sometimes the having fun is just as good as the jokes. I love Lucy. And so it was great to see Lucy at the end. I do think that the bit that they did not age well. I think that this is probably the worst thing that you could do this day and age, as far as, him locking the door, and she's obviously reluctant, and he's obviously in a position of power over her and everything like that. Right. I feel like, you can do some of that on the radio, because it's sort of like, what can you really believe? If it was just her saying, oh, well, and then the gate came down and he would say, it did not, that sort of thing. You can see how they might have gotten away with it on the radio, but to actually see it was very uncomfortable. Although I will say, the bed bit was pretty funny, where suddenly out of nowhere, this bed comes, and it obviously wasn't supposed to come at that time. And then to do callbacks on that, I thought was also surprising and funny.
Yeah, I agree. And a bit that you wouldn't see today, I don't think, at all. So, Kathy, what do you think of it?
Well, thanks for a great description and analysis of a show I swear I had not seen. Maybe I had seen it long ago and forgotten it. John, you make such great points, and Daryl, you too, about that last bit not playing, and yet it had been so brilliant when he'd done it the other year with Phyllis Diller in the parody of The Graduate, with having Jack being the one you know, I mean, to having the amorous woman on the prowl, and Jack playing the Dustin Hoffman part was brilliant. But just as you say, it sure don't work this way. John, I'm sure Terry may talk some more about everything you wanted, everything you wanted to know about sex, but we're afraid to ask. Was a hugely sort of controversial pop culture kind of thing that, oh no, we're talking about sex. And the very fact of having Jack Benny associated with it is kind of funny, because I guess in his a Vegas routine, or or in a no holds barred when I say roast of a celebrity where everybody is throwing up the obscenities, and Jack might just say one word like fornication, and everybody goes, oh, Jack never. So it would be so interesting. I'll have to look for some reviews of the show at the time, because I was really struck by how up to date it was, and in touch with sort of modern youth culture. And then a pull back to appreciate stuff from the early 30s, and assuming his audience is as ancient as this little lady in the Timex commercial who's had the same watch since 1918. And so I kept, it was pull forward to talk about the present day and the young audience, pull way back to talk about the audience, that he's carried from forever. And yet I thought one way, like the best part to me of the push forward to present day was the singer Leslie Uggams.
Dion Warwick.
Dion Warwick. Of how they get to involve her in the callback to the Do-Wah Diddy skit, but with saying we're black and white from the South together. I like, that to me was one of the best ways of talking about the present.
I think that may have been cut from the DVD version that I watched. So I'll have to go back and check the full version, when it comes out. I got to say though, when they're talking about the book and sort of like, taking it on its own terms and sort of dancing around it, and then Phil Harris comes and says, "Oh yeah, he's the guy with the dirty book." That was hilarious.
Well, it's just so Phil. It's so perfect. I love it.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, no, he's very much, Phil Harris is such a breath of fresh air. Who is not, when we've had Don Wilson come on the show, it's with a sense of nostalgia of we were together for 30 years. Phil has that and blows right into his fabulous character, his persona. So that was wonderful.
Well, and it just brings up how sad it is that he's appeared so few times with Jack after radio, because they're just right back in chemistry. I mean, it's right there. And
it would be worthwhile to see if they were actually, how long they appeared together in their summer live tours, because Phil had been the mainstay of the summer tours of big movie theaters and state fairs and things like that they did for a number of years in the summer.
Right.
So if we were around back in the day, maybe we would have had the pleasure of seeing them someplace. So.
Right. It's possible. I don't know. John, had you heard this bit on the radio show?
No.
Okay. It's definitely, I think it's the 47 season. They do this exact bit almost.
So that's what I like about the South bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do know them razzing him about like do-wah diddy, like what's that supposed to mean or something in a different season, but yeah.
So when I ran into it, I was like, whoa. And then I compared them and I can't remember what it's. I want to say it's 47. And it's just strange how they find a bit and they grab it and they go, this is perfect. We're going to use it over and over again. Go ahead, Terry. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, and just on that last point, since it was Jack's radio writers who were responsible for the script on this, it's understandable that they would mine their own material. I guess that's not plagiarism if you're doing your own stuff. As with so much of what we talk about, this is another slice of history. And as I have said before, you can't really fairly judge something from 50 or 100 years ago by today's standards. The audience's reaction in 1970, when this was originally broadcast, was based on their sensibilities at that time, their standards at that time. And of course, for many of them, it was a connection to the radio program. And a lot of people who were watching this in 1970 were adults who were, connected to the previous era. So, John, while you're right that no one would write, let alone broadcast some of this material today, I think it's also unfair for us to say, this, how terrible this is, because at the time, I mean, yeah, sexual harassment's terrible in any era, going back to the caveman, but to use it as a source of humor, I mean, funny's funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about like some of the drinking jokes that are in the Jack Benny show so often, and they're funny and they're the character that they are. But again, if you were to see it, you would be like, oh, that's not funny anymore.
Right. So speaking about visuals, this was shot at the NBC Burbank studios, and it was in one of their big stages. Unlike Jack's earlier TV specials, which were on a much smaller stage, this was an enormous stage. I've been on that stage. I've been at that stage, not on it. And it goes way, way back. And so I thought it was interesting when Phil came out that he was working really close to the camera, and he kind of made Jack and Dr. David Rubin, the author of the book, look much smaller. And so it even, magnified even more his persona visually, something obviously he couldn't do on the radio, but was, I thought, really an effective technique. I don't know if it was his idea or the director's, but it really caught my eye. The book, which Jack referred to as everything you wanted to know about SEX.
Yeah, can't even say the word.
Couldn't even say the word. Was an enormous hit. It came out in 1969, so a year before this special was broadcast. And this special was about 2 years before Woody Allen's movie. I say based on the book. It wasn't real. I mean, it was inspired by the book, but it was, kind of mocking the book too. But yeah, this was an enormous bit of popular culture. So it's no wonder that they chose that as the title and the frame of reference. One of the other things I loved about this whole special is that it was in some ways, as his other material was too, a recapturing of the vaudeville era, including the running gag where somebody starts to perform, and where Phil, I guess, starts to perform, and people are constantly interrupting him. And it was this, I think it might have been Jimmy Durante who was first famous for saying, "Stop the music, stop the music." Yeah. And everybody came out and did that, hold it, wait a minute. It was a vaudeville technique, and it's still funny. It was funny then, it was funny 100 years ago, and it's funny today. Dr. David Rubin was not only the author of a book about sex, and a psychologist, I guess, who was a sex therapist, but also went on to become a specialist in nutrition. In fact, I think he wrote a book called Everything You Wanted to Know About Nutrition That We're Afraid to Ask. And I had never seen him do comedy before, but he, obviously had some comedic chops. Dion Warwick was most famous initially for Do You Know the Way to San Jose, which is where I was living when that song came out. And what else? It was great to see John Wayne. It was great to see Bob Hope. He wasn't on for long, and didn't get much promotion, but he was wonderful. And then a couple of the character actors whose names I'm sorry I didn't write down, but who did some bit parts. I nothing about this special was unique. It was all bits and pieces of what they've done over the years. But because they had the resources to produce it in a really spectacular way, which is what they used to call these things, not specials, but originally they were spectaculars.
Spectaculars.
It lived up to its promotion, and absolutely worth watching.
Well, and I wonder sometimes what was the deal in there's something about 1970 where it's two of his best specials This one follows immediately after. This was the second special of the year. The first special of the year was the one with where they're celebrating 20 years of Jack Benny being in television.
On television.
And the one with Dennis Day and Dawn and Rochester and the whole gang, and Dinah Shore appears as she appeared on the very first Jack Benny show. She appears on that one as well, looking amazing. I always wondered kind of why they didn't have Phil on that one instead of having Phil on this one. And I thought, well, one, it was pretty darn crowded. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, those people they were celebrating the television show. And Phil was only on the television show once. He wasn't like everybody else was a semi-regular or the first guest on Jack's television show. So it makes sense that they would, maybe they had conversations with him and just decided, let's just do it as the second one where we can also feature a more extended bit with him than we could probably fit if we was going to appear. If he would have appeared in the other one, it probably just would have been kind of a cameo piece, because everybody, including Dennis's bit, was pretty short in that other one because they had so much ground to cover. I really think this showed off Phil the way that you should. I can see why they went with this same bit again. They don't expect people to sit down and watch the 1957 special back to back with the 1970. I totally get it. I'm always surprised in the radio show how they didn't do, I mean, they did some recycling for sure, but they did a lot of new material too throughout this series, because back then they didn't think anyone would ever hear this stuff again. So you would think you would every 5 years revisit the whole season from 5 years ago and just redo it, but they didn't do that, which was good. John, you got anything else to add on this?
I was just curious because I looked at the DVD. Like I said, I was watching the DVD that Time Life put out, and I'm pretty sure it said 1971. So I'm not sure if we can confirm the date. I was just curious about that. So
it could have been his second 1970-71 season.
I don't know if somebody can get into IMDb and
It
look
says
up
70, but maybe I'm wrong. There's one other name, by the way, we shouldn't end this without mentioning, and that was in the Timex commercial. Good old John Cameron Swayze, who had been best known before this as the anchor of the Camel Cavalcade of News.
Yeah. One way in which this show seems so modern, but from the realm of 2021, seems it's a world away. I was 10 in 1970, but the importance of watches that Timex was trying to promote, that everybody needs a watch. Those $30 watches, $30 is $210 today.
Yeah.
And while today apparently very few people, unless you wear a very expensive status watch, everybody uses this as their watch. But I'm going back to teaching for the first time after being off for a year, and my watch batteries are dead, but I'm desperate for a watch, because while I'm on stage performing, while I'm in the middle of teaching class, there are no clocks in my classroom, and I don't know what time it is. And I'm not used to going over and picking up my phone and having to turn it on and see how much time I had left. I always have a watch with a big hand. So it just, those wonderful commercials, the one with the watches on the bottom of a snow ski and keeps on ticking, or the relationship between the little old lady who maybe got a watch as a high school graduation present or something like that. I was just thinking about that watch technology and how young people today, it's a whole different world, and they wouldn't, and yet, and Timex were pretty expensive watches back in the day.
And John, you might be right, because on IMDb, I mean, as accurate as they are, March 10th, 1971. So I don't know why it said 1970 on the YouTube listing, but yeah.
Well, like I say, it makes total sense that it'd be 71, just in that would be, if you're going to do two specials in the year, he's going to do one in the 1970-71 season. He's going to do one, it's going to fall in 1970. The second one's probably going to fall in 1971, right? So it's still the 1970 television season or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. I always find it fun watching and trying to see all the references and see how many I can catch and how many I just have no idea about. One of the ones that I didn't know, but my wife knew, was Norman Vincent Peale. I guess he's the author of Power of Positive Thinking. But I do, you know, when I watch Jack Benny, it always reminds me of previous things Jack Benny has done. I always get a flash of that, and I mean, that's a lot of times why these specials happened in 1970. But I did also have that with Lucy when she comes out in her big, you know, Goldwyn Girl outfit or whatever. It reminds me of those big reveals in the I Love Lucy show where she's gotten herself in a situation and she goes and then she's in this crazy situation looking around. So that was also a fun nostalgia moment for me.
That's great. Well, and it's
She also
interesting.
had
Lucy,
marvelous
go ahead.
leg still in
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He's so fit.
Well, it's amazing that she's on both these specials this year. She was on his earlier one, the 20th anniversary, and then on this one. Also, at this point in time, he was on her show quite often on Here's Lucy, and so there was that back and forth going on. But it's neat to see her. As Kathy was saying about the watches, I was thinking. I remember back, my dad used to have a pocket watch. And so I thought, well, that was really inconvenient having a pocket watch. When they came up with the wristwatch, of course, that makes a lot more sense. But now we're almost back to pocket watches again, in that you pull the phone out of your pocket and take a look at it and things. And very few people are actually wearing the pocket watch. The watch and the wristwatch, except for now with the iWatch and all that sort of thing. People have that. My daughter has one of those that she wears, and I'm like, I can't afford that, but she can. So anyway, it's all good. Well, anyway, we'll let you enjoy the show. Great special. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, everybody.
The Kraft Music Hall will not be seen tonight in order to bring you the following.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
Timex presents everything you always wanted to know about Jack Benny, but were afraid to ask. Starring Jack Benny, with his guest stars Lucille Ball, George Burns, Phil Harris, Dion Warwick, and featuring Dr. David Rubin and John Wayne as Marion Michael Morrison. Brought to you by Timex, world's largest manufacturer of watches. Timex, the dependable watch, precision made to wear with confidence. Timex, the fashionable watch, style to wear with pride. Two important reasons why more people buy Timex than any other watch in the world.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, here I am again doing my second and last show of the current season for Timex. Now, you see, I only do 2 specials a year. 2. 1, 2. Now, the unions are fighting for a 35-hour week. I've got a 2-hour year. Anyway, it seems lately every 5 minutes you get a special on TV, and they're not specials at all. They're hour shows, 2 half hours put together. But the networks make a big thing out of it. They call them specials. To me, a special is when coffee goes from 89 cents a pound to 41. That's a special. Now, my last show, I celebrated my 20th anniversary. And as you know, the title of this show is Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Jack Benny, but Were Afraid to Ask. And before the show is over, you will know the real Jack Benny. The man, not the myth. we're in such a... Since we're in such a sensitive area, naturally, I cleared that in advance, not only with the network, but with those who have been closest to me, you know, through the years. My wife and my masseur and my teddy bear. And of course, since the titles are so similar, I had to get permission from the author of the famous book and forthcoming motion picture, Everything You Always Wanted to Know About SEX. But we're afraid to ask. Well, he not only gave us permission, he even agreed to come on the show. And I'd like you to meet him now, Dr. David Rubin. Well, Doctor, I must say it's a great privilege meeting you and having you on my show.
It's my pleasure, Jack. I think I must be one of your greatest fans.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Now, the popularity of your book must be very gratifying.
It is, Jack, because I have to say that it wasn't an easy book to do. It took lots and lots of research.
I can imagine. It's a wonder he had time to write it.
Jack, have you read the book?
Well, I started to.
Started?
Yeah, I fainted on page 10. On page 9 and 8 and 7 and 6. Then Mary threw water on me. I went on. But, Doctor, I want to ask you something. Come here, this a little, you know, a little confidential. Doctor, I want to ask you, can a man my age take something just so he can finish reading the book?
Jack, why are we discussing my book? I mean, this show has nothing to do with sex. It's about you.
Well, you didn't have to put it that way. But you're right, this show is supposed to be about me.
That's quite a subject, Jack, and you've had an unusual career.
Yes, and it all started back in Waukegan. I was born there. Incidentally, Dr. Rubin was born in Waukegan, Illinois, where I was born. Isn't that right? And when I was 6 years old, my father gave me a violin. And I used this violin.
Knock it off. Knock it off. Come on, hold it.
Stop, will you stop already?
You know something? I've been waiting out there to come out and entertain you nice people, and I got to hear this Stone Age Rhett Butler going through, you know, Gone with the Wind. Let me finish. I've had that. You know, you can't start a pace like you're doing. My father sold me a bag. You know, that kind of talk like you're doing, that went out with Merton Marge. Don't you know that?
Merton Marge?
Yeah, Merton Marge. You got to move nowadays. You can't go with that dialogue, well, I said this and everything. You know what I mean? Here's what you got to do. One picture is worth more than 1,000 words, Mr. Benny. Watch me, and I'm a living Rembrandt. Pull that camera in and lay it on me. Let him see them beautiful lines.
Phil.
You're so fresh and firm,
Madam
baby.
Pompadour.
Where you going?
Come here.
What? Listen, Jack, you know
Phil, how
something?
can you interrupt?
Because you're beautiful, that's why.
Listen, never mind. How can you interrupt when I'm talking to someone? This is Dr. Rubin.
I know, the guy with the dirty book. Doc, look, I don't want to talk about it now, but when we get away from him, you know, it's a little tougher. But when we get away, I got a few goodies I'm going to put in that next book of yours, and they'll be burning that midnight oil, David.
Phil, stop it, will you?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, Doctor.
It's all right, Jack. We get suggestions all the time.
There ain't no offense, Doc. I don't want you to take offense, David, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm nuts about your book. I read it, and I got it right up in my library, and it's right next to Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm.
You read Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm?
Who's going to read it? I open it up, and a full bottle of bourbon drops out.
For heaven's sakes, Phil, will you settle down?
Jack.
Now, I'm glad you came on my show.
Jackson, I wouldn't miss your 20th anniversary show for all the money in the world.
20th anniversary? Wait a minute, that was my last show. We did that 4 months ago.
4 months ago? Pardon me, Doc, I got to get to a phone. I got to call Alice.
Phil, you haven't been home in 4 months?
Well, give and take an hour or two.
Wait a minute, Phil, just 1 minute. You butted in, you're here. So how about singing a song for us and getting it over with?
I think anything might pick it up a little. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get out of here, will you? Hey, hit it, will you, Jack? Come with me to Alabama. Let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and boiling at me. That's what I like about the South. There you can make no mistake.
Hold it. Wait a minute, hold it.
What do you mean?
Hold it. Bring the lights up. Bring the camera down. Bring the lights up.
You're lousing up my number.
What do you mean lousing up your number? I've heard you do that song. That's what I like about the 1,000 times. That song has, I don't want you to sing it. It has the most ridiculous lyrics that I've ever heard.
What are you talking about? Now, don't talk that. You know how sensitive I am.
You're about as sensitive as a water buffalo. But I still say those lyrics make absolutely no sense.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
do me a favor, will you? Start it again. I want you to sing That's What I Like About the South. I'll show everybody, including you, how silly those lyrics are. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to do it again.
Do it.
All right. Won't you come with me to Alabama? Let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and broiling at me. That's what I like about the South. Now, that's not hard to understand.
No, that makes sense.
I mean, is that too tough for you?
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Now carry on.
All right,
We'll go from there.
I'm going to carry on right now. There you can make no mistakey. Wear those nerves are never shaky. Ought to taste her layer cakey. That's what I like about the South. She's got...
Hold it. All right, hold it. That I can understand a tiny bit. Somehow, your mother in Alabama put a pinch of baking soda on the ham and eggs, and out came a layer cake.
Layer cakey.
All right, cakey. But how does your mammy get a cakey by putting a pinch of salty on a hammy and eggy?
Does Sarah Lee tell Betty Crocker, Jack?
All right, Phil, go ahead.
Here come old Bob with all the news. Got the box back coat and the button shoes, but he's all caught up with them union dues. That's what I like about the South. Here come old Roy down the street.
What happened to Bob?
Can't you see them scuffling feet? He would rather sleep than eating, and that's what I like about the South. Tell you about the place called Do-Wah-Diddy. Well, it ain't no town, it ain't no city. It's awful small, but awful pretty will do. Wah-Diddy.
Hold it! That's the one I've been waiting for. That's the one I've been waiting for.
That's the one he's been waiting for.
That's the one. Do-wah-diddy. Okay, fellas, bring it in.
Bring what in?
Bring this map in. Bring it in. I want to prove something. Now, Phil, here is the latest map of the United States. Look at it. I want you to show me one place on this map where it says do-wah-diddy. That's what. I can see Walla Walla, Muskegon, Ashtabula, Waxahachie, but where in the name of Aristotle Onassis is do-wah-diddy?
Well, I just told you.
You told me what?
Here's what I told you. I said, did I tell you about the place called Do-Wah-Diddy? It ain't no town. It ain't no city. It's awfully small, but oh, so pretty. Do-Wah-Diddy.
Don't describe it! Don't describe it. Just tell me, where is it? What is it? Is it a real place?
Look,
what is it?
What are you talking about? Do you think I'm nuts? When I'm telling you stuff like this, it's not a fig leaf of my imagination.
That's figment.
Oh, all right, but get this thing out of here. Yeah. I don't want to
just answer me one thing.
You're lousing my song.
Listen, I don't care. I want you to answer me one thing.
What?
If doo-wah-diddy ain't no town and ain't no city,
yeah.
What is it? Is it a hamlet? Is it a village? Is it a gas station? Is it a washing machine? What? I defy you to answer me.
You know I love you when you get mad. You know the blood's almost up to your chin.
Answer me one question. Where is doo-wah-diddy?
Jackson, I can't tell you.
Why not?
Then Alice will know where I've been for the last 4 months.
I'm going. Get off.
But I'm going to tell you one thing, folks. I'll be back because this old man needs me.
Get off the stage.
Once there was a one-watch woman who had only one watch to wear. No matter where she went, no matter what she did, no matter what she wore, no matter what, the one-watch woman, she had no choice. Until now. Now Timex lets her have a whole wardrobe of watches. For instance, this little water-resistant Timex for only $12.95. Or for the boutique look, this beautiful, bold sport Timex, only $11.95. Or for an evening out, this diamond Timex with real 8-facet diamonds, just $15.95. The Timex wardrobe of watches. It would have made the one-watch woman dance for joy. Timex fashion watches, $9.95 to $19.95.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to the title of our show, before you meet my other guests, Lucille Ball, Dion Warwick, George Burns, and John Wayne, I think it would be no more than fair if you people sitting here in the audience got to ask some questions about me, because this is what the show is all about. Now, don't be afraid to ask anything. I'll answer them. Could we have the house lights, please, for the audience? Any questions at all?
Well, you always kid about being 39, and, well, I always want to know how old you really are.
That's a very good question. Thank you. Now, is there anyone else? Any other question? Thank you. Any other question, please? Yes, young lady, yes.
Mr. Benny, how old are you?
Well, all right. All right. I know you want to know. So I'll tell you what. How old do you think I am? Just guess. Now, I promise I won't be offended. Guess.
Are you 61?
Easily. Now that that's settled, are there any other questions?
I wanted to know, since your birthday's coming up, what would you really like?
What I would like for my birthday? You want to give me something for my birthday? Huh? Well, I'll work this out right away. I don't have any trouble with this thing. Give me a kiss.
You never answered my former question. How old are you?
Well, look it. All right, if I didn't answer it before, I'll answer it now. I suppose there's no reason why I shouldn't tell you. Now, on my last birthday, which was February the 14th.
Hold it, Jack.
Don't answer that question, Jack. It's embarrassing.
Well, what's embarrassing about a person's age?
We're not talking about a person's age. We're talking about your age. It's embarrassing.
Look, George.
Besides, who cares how old you are? It's how you feel, how you look.
Well, I look wonderful. I mean, people tell me all the time. They can't get over how good I look on the stage.
On the stage, yes. But I've seen you in the steam room.
In the steam room?
There you look like a turtle.
By the way, folks, this is my closest friend, George Burns.
Now, Jack, let me answer all these questions, and don't worry, I won't tell anything I shouldn't. I won't tell them about the time you played Charlie's aunt.
Well, why not? That was a good movie, wasn't it?
I know, but 2 years after you made it, you were still wearing the dress.
Only once, when I tried to get into the ball game on ladies' night. Sailor bought me a beer. One drink and they think they own you. Now, George, look, it's my show. It's my life. Let me handle these questions.
Believe me, Jack, you can trust me. Now go on, take a rest. Off. Move.
What do you want from me? Turtles move slowly.
He's cute, isn't he? And there's one thing about Jack that you don't know. He has such a positive attitude. I remember a few years ago when we were both being interviewed at a news conference, and one of the questions they put to Jack was, if you were stranded on a desert island with only one other person, who would you like that person to be? Now, ladies and gentlemen, wouldn't you think the answer would be Raquel Welch or Sophia Loren? No. Jack's answer was Norman Vincent Peale. But that Jack, even Norman Vincent Peale said Raquel Welch. But I don't want to stand here and just talk. I'm here to answer your questions. Now go ahead. Ask me about Jack. Anything at all.
You have a reputation for being able to make Jack Benny laugh easily. Is this true?
Yes, that's true. I make Jack laugh easily, but that's no compliment. He laughs at anything. The guy who really broke him up was Calvin Coolidge. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
Jack Benny always looks so good. Has he ever had his face lifted?
Jack ever had his face lifted? Absolutely not. 4 times. Don't tell him I said it, but his face has been lifted so many times. Every time he smiles, his leg comes up. You can't help it. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
When you and Jack first met, which of you was the bigger star?
Well, I'll tell you exactly how that was. Because when I met Jack, that was way back in the days of
Now, wait a minute, George, wait a minute. I don't know what you're going to say. Whatever you're going to say, it'll be another one of your big lies.
Now, Jack, I'm doing this. I was asked the question, so get off. Go on. Take your straight lines and get off. Off. Out.
I'm a turtle.
Go to. As I was saying, at the time I met Jack, I was headlining a big show at the Palace. And there was a juggling act that opened the show that was the worst.
Fantastic. Did you hear the hand you got? Why, the audience just loved you, George. Just loved you. Hey, George, incidentally, guess what? Ziegfeld wants you for his new follies.
Forget it, I'm not shaving my legs for anybody.
But George!
Where's the shoeshine boy? Goodbye.
Well, I'll call you, Georgie.
Okay. Shoeshine boy?
Coming, Mr. Burns. Here I am, Mr. Burns. There I am, one shine coming up. I'm sorry I'm late, but I had a rush call to do Fink's mules. Their hoofs were a mess.
I'll bet.
Your shoes are gonna twinkle and shine this evening for a quarter and a dime.
Never mind the audition. Just shine the shoes, boy.
Don't call me boy. I'm 39.
Well, just keep the polish off my socks so you'll never see 40.
Now, George, wait, I knew this was going to happen. George, that story you told about me was a big lie, and you know.
All right, Jack, you're right. It was a big lie. Now I'll tell them how we really met. Now, I was at the palace.
Fantastic, George. You were just fantastic. Say, did you hear the hand you got? George, they loved you. They just loved you. Incidentally, George, Earl Carroll wants you for his new show, The Vanities.
Are you kidding? Look at what happened when I worked for Ziegfeld.
Well, I'll be talking to you, George.
Congratulations, Mr. Burns.
Thank you.
Mr. Burns, don't you remember me?
No, but your partner looks familiar. That's $1 for you.
Oh.
No, not for you, but for him.
But we're partners. Just 1 minute, George Burns. You know that never happened. Imagine making me a shoeshine boy and a monkey's partner. What is this anyway?
You're absolutely right, Jack. I'm a big liar.
Yes, you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's what really happened. The first time I met Jack Benny, he was performing marriages in Tijuana. And how I happened to know is my sister goes...
Get off.
Can I speak with you for just a moment? Can you tell offhand what sort of a watch this is?
It would be a battery type electric watch.
Right, yeah, that's right.
This is the incredible electric Timex.
What would you say would be the main difference in why an electric watch perhaps might be more reliable? Or
electric watch, you don't have to worry about setting time or winding it, or
yeah,
and, that's the main thing.
It never needs winding.
Now, what would you say about the differences between a watch that you wind up and an electric watch?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't have to worry about my watch stopping during the day and having my men work overtime or undertime. That's for sure.
It's rugged, water-resistant, dust-resistant.
If you bought this watch in a store, how much would you expect to pay for it?
About $70. About $100.
Probably minimum of about $80.
Well, I've seen them advertising television for over $100.
Its replaceable energy cell lasts for a whole year.
What would you say if I told you that Timex Electric was for sale for $25?
Very good. How about terrific?
Surprised. Quite surprised.
I wouldn't believe it.
Oh, is that so? That's hard to believe.
The $25 electric Timex, incredible. The calendar electric Timex, $30, equally incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest singers of popular songs in America today, Miss Dion Warwick.
He thinks I'm afraid. He ought to know I'm not. Why should I be scared? I'm safe and sound because I got love. I got love. I got love. I got love, 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 love. I got love. I got love. Sweet a flower and growing by the hour, 'cause I got love, sunshine, shine. I got mine, carve it on a willow. I'm talking to my pillow, 'cause I got love every time I'm with him. I know that I'm a lucky girl for the first time in my life. You know I'm somebody in this world, bye-bye, please. You know that I can't lose. I got a door, honey, and every day is sunny, 'cause I got love. Sweeter than a flower and growing by the hour, 'cause I got love. Oh, every time I'm with him, you know that I'm a lucky girl for the first time in my life. You know I'm somebody in this world, bye-bye, please. You know that I can't lose. I got a door, honey, and every day is sunny, 'cause I got love, I got love, I got love, I got love, oh, I got love. Said I got love, 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 I got love, I got love, oh, I got love, 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 you know I got love,
Dion, before you do your encore, I would like to say something. Now, I know you hear this every time you appear on a show. What a great voice you have. What a fine artist you are. Really, you must be tired of hearing it, huh?
Well, no, not actually.
You're not.
In fact, I was so excited when I heard you wanted me to be on your show. Even my manager told me that I should be willing to do it for nothing.
Isn't that sweet? And you have a fine manager.
Yes, I think so.
He's also mine.
You know, Jack,
What?
since everyone's asking you questions, there's one that I would like to ask.
What is it, Dion?
Well, Jack, I don't really know how to say this, but you've always given the impression that you're a cheap, tight, stingy miser.
Well, for someone who didn't know how to say it, you phrased it beautifully. But let me answer that. That is just a character that I portray for my millions and millions of fans. I want to tell you I'm not stingy. You know how generous I am? I even tip in cafeterias. Now, Dion, what are you going to sing for an encore?
Well, I'm going to sing Who Gets the Guy. It's one of my mother's favorites.
Oh, your mother. Is she here tonight? I'd like to meet her.
No, she's not. My mother's back home, but she's watching the show.
Oh, where's home?
Oh, it's a small town. You've probably never heard of it. It's in North Carolina. It's called Watsonville.
Watsonville, North Carolina.
Yes, it's about 5 miles south of Do-Wah-Diddy.
Do-Wah-Diddy?
Yeah, Do-Wah-Diddy. It ain't no town, and it ain't no city.
Now cut that out! Sing your song.
The devil made me say that, Jeff.
Well, go ahead and sing.
It's the guy at the end of the show. I'd like to know. People say you have found another. Is it true what they say? When the picture's over, will it be all over? Tell me who gets the guy in the last sweet caress. Don't make me guess. Loving you has become my whole life. I can't live without you. When it's time to walk out, are you gonna walk out? And that's why I just keep listening to the music to see if it's happy or sad. Because if it's happy, that's how I'll be. And if it's sad, well, that's too bad for me. Oh, can't you see just how much I need you? It just has to be me. Please tell me that the ending is a happy ending for me, and that I get the guy. Ooh, can't you see just how much I need you? It just has to be me. Please tell me that the ending is a happy ending. La 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 la.
Young man.
Yes, madam. May I help you?
I am here, young man, to buy a watch, a wristwatch.
A wristwatch for yourself.
Certainly not. I have a watch. It was presented to me at my first Newport cotillion.
I see. You would like a watch for a gift.
Indeed. It's for my great-granddaughter, and she likes these modern developments.
I have just the thing for you. The electric wristwatch by Timex. You never have to wind it.
Never?
Never.
Well, that is remarkable. And what, may I ask, propels it?
A little battery, madam. A tiny energy cell. It keeps the watch running with steady electric accuracy for a full year, and then you replace it.
Oh, I see. And what is the price of this extraordinary timepiece?
Only $30.
Most reasonable. I'll take it. Have it gift wrapped.
Thank you, madam. I'm glad to introduce you to the electric.
Don't talk to me about the electric, young man. I know all about them. I've been driving one for 50 years.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, The reason they're laughing, you see, during the commercial, we were talking, and a lady out there asked me if it's possible for a comedian to have sex appeal. Now, I probably should resent that. But actually, she's got a point, because for some reason, comedy and sex don't seem to go together. Really, how many comedians can you think of who would be considered great lovers? On the other hand, Valentino was no Zero Mostel. But I guess it's true. Now, I will admit, I never was a ladies' man. I never was a Wolf or a Don Juan.
Hold it, Jack.
This should be called the Jack Hold It Show.
Well, I don't care, Jack. I'm just not going to let you run yourself down like that.
Why? Now, Lucy.
No. Now, what's true is true. When it came to real, deep down, raw sex appeal, you had it, Blue Eyes.
Well, I got by.
Got by? You were sensational.
I was?
Yeah. You forget, Jack. Just because nowadays Mary has to throw water on you.
But, Lucy, I still say Clark Gable, Cary Grant, they were the sex symbols.
To the public, yes. But here in Hollywood, to us girls on the movie lots, you were the champ, Hot Lips. Don't you believe this, Wolf. I know what I'm talking about. I will never forget the time. Let's see, it was my very first picture as a Goldwyn girl. Sweet, innocent little me. And Jack was the star, see?
All
right, quiet, everybody. Now, this is running into money, so let's try and get it right this time. Okay, roll.
Goldwyn girl, take 7.
Playback. And action. Reload the cameras, pass out the balloons. We'll try it again.
Well, please don't be mad at me, sir. I'll get it right. I know I will, because I'm a Goldwyn girl.
You're a klutz. That's what you are, a klutz.
Oh, sir, please. I don't think he likes me.
Jack Benny's on the lot, and he'll be here any minute.
Jack Benny! Jack Benny is here, the big movie star. Oh,
He's here.
If he's as handsome as they say he is, I'll just die. I'll just die. Oh.
Here. We don't shoot your scene till tomorrow.
Well, I thought I'd just pay a visit to the crowd. You know, I thought it'd be good for the morale of the cast.
Oh, we're delighted you dropped in.
All right. Hey, Peaches. Say hello to the man who got you the job.
Hello.
Sorry I had to stand you up, honey, but I'll work you in one of these days. Lovely. Hey, you.
Me?
Yeah, you with the red hair. Come here.
Oh.
You're cute. What's your name?
Lucille Klutz. Ball. Ball Klutz. Lucille Ball. That's what it is. I'm sure that's it.
Well, permit me.
I'm terribly sorry.
That's all right, honey. It always happens.
Oh, really?
Sir, I'm just a chorus boy on this picture, and I hate to interrupt.
Well, then don't.
It's all right. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm a big admirer of yours, Mr. Benny, and it'd make my day if I could have your autograph.
Well, certainly. What's your name, kid?
Marion Michael Morrison.
Marion Michael Morrison. No wonder you're a chorus boy. You'll never get anywhere with a name like that.
Well, I have been thinking of changing it, Mr. Benny, to Wayne.
Wayne? That's not too bad. Wayne. How about Wayne Newton?
How about John Wayne Newton?
That's worse than Marion Michael Morrison.
You're right, kid. Now, let me give you some advice. You're too big and tall and clumsy to be a chorus boy.
Yeah, you're a klutz. Okay.
Now, listen, kid. Why don't you buy yourself a horse, a cowboy suit, put a black patch over your eye, and you'll be in business.
You mean you want me to sell shirts?
El Klutzo, I told you.
No, be a cowboy. Get into westerns, and you'll be a star.
But that takes true grit.
Oh, brother. Well, all right, young fella. If you're really serious, I'll give you a name with a lot of spice.
How about Ginger Rogers?
Cut it out! I'll give you a name for show business, a name that's exciting and real Western that'll make a star of it.
Thank you, sir.
There you are.
Myron C. Handelman?
You know, that kid's headed for heartbreak.
Yeah, he'll never get any place.
Places, girls. That means everybody.
Mr. Benny, you're so nice. I'd like to have your autograph, too. Would you please?
On what?
Well, write it on me, on my neck, right back there.
On your neck?
Yes. Write something nice.
All right. Let's see, to a sweet girl. Well, I'd like to see more of affectionately E.F.F.
That's A.F.F.
A.F.F.
I'll sign your name.
Jack Benny.
Oh, thank you, Mr.
Come on,
Benny.
let's go, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Jack, have you picked out that girl for the new part yet?
No, but I've been auditioning every night for weeks.
But it's only one line.
But you can't be too careful. I'll try again. I know just who I'll be auditioning tonight.
Oh, hey, you. Come over here. Sweep up this mess, will you?
Hold it. That's how I met George Burns. Tell that red-headed doll I want to see her later. come in. Come in.
Yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should come back some other time.
Well, that's silly. That's silly. You're going to read for a big, juicy part in my picture.
Yeah, well, couldn't we read out here in the hall? It's lighter.
But there's nothing to worry about. Believe me. Now, come on. Right in, and don't be nervous.
Oh, I'm not nervous. It's just that I've never been in the apartment of a big star before.
Oh, there's nothing really to worry about.
What's that for?
Well, after 10, the elevator operators, he goes off duty, and there may be someone out there who would take advantage of a girl.
Someone out there.
Now relax, my pretty pigeon. The night is young.
Yeah, I know. Now, you certainly have a lovely place here.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
What are you doing?
I just want to take your coat.
Oh, well, I'll give it to the butler.
Well, the butler's off today.
Oh, well, I'll give it to the maid.
No, the maid is off.
You mean we're all alone here?
Yes, but don't worry, the dog is here.
Well, he's your friend.
Look, now sit down and make yourself comfortable. Now, please.
All right.
Now, don't worry about one thing, honey. You'll be very... Sit right over here and make yourself nice and comfy. Right there. And I'll go and fix ourselves. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. There.
Oh, good heavens. I was almost smothered. I was pillowed to death. My whole life flashed in front of me.
Well, I hope I was in it. Here. Now, sit right over here. Right here, and don't worry about a thing. Now, did anyone ever tell you that you're a beautiful girl?
No.
Well, you are.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Benny.
Oh, don't call me Mr. Benny. Plain Jack will do. You're very attractive.
Thank you, Plain Jack.
Now, you just sit here and I'll fix you a nice martini.
Oh, no. I don't care for a martini.
Well, how about wine? A little wine?
No, thank you.
How about a slice of rum cake?
No, thank you. I better keep my wits about me. I mean, if I'm going to read for that big, juicy part.
Now, don't worry. One little drink. It can't hurt.
Well, all right. Just one.
Okay, now just fix this all up. And remember, I would do big things for you. If you play your cards right, I can make you a bigger star than Helen 12th Street.
Is that good? Oh, well, I guess that's worth waiting for.
Now, see?
Oh, thank you.
No, that's mine.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's yours.
Oh, no.
It's marvelous. Just don't be afraid.
No, thank you, Plain Jack. No.
Oh, no, look at there's nothing. Come here. No, look.
Oh.
Honey, why are you so suspicious?
Well, because this is Hollywood and things happen to girls out here. And well, with your reputation, you can't blame me if I get all...
That's ridiculous. I have the best intentions.
Oh, yeah.
You have my word. You have absolutely nothing to worry about. Believe me.
Well, I have my coat, please?
Look, it's not what you're thinking.
I know, it's what you're thinking. I'm leaving.
You got me all wrong. You got me all wrong. You gotta believe me, but there's nothing to worry about. Believe me.
I am getting out of here.
Well, now, wait a minute. At least, give me a good night kiss.
All right,
Just a
one,
good night
just one. What do you know? Plain Jack's fainted. Jack! Oh, how do you like that?
Baldy Mountain in Sun Valley, Idaho, has some of America's most exciting ski runs. Ladies and gentlemen, John Cameron Swayze reporting for Timex. You see that skier up there? We've attached a Timex water-resistant watch under the tip of that ski, and we're going to put it through one of the most exciting runs you'll ever see. He'll be going in a minute. And there he goes. Keep your eye on the tip of the ski because that's where the watch is attached. Beautiful skiing, and you came through just fine. But how about our Timex? Still running, as you can see by the sweep second hand. Proof that our Timex is not only water resistant, but it's also sturdy. And it's just as handsome as it is rugged. There you have the famous Timex Marlin and the Timex Sportster, designed for smaller wrists. Water-resistant, dust-resistant, built to take a beating. In fact, tests show that Timex watches withstand an impact of 2,000 Gs and continue to run accurately. No wonder more people buy Timex than any other watch in the world.
Well, Dr. Rubin, do you think I answered everything they wanted to know about me?
Yes, but there's something I'd like to know about you, Jack, but I'm afraid to ask.
What's that?
Well, we all know you really play the violin, but are you really serious about your music?
Serious? For your information, Doctor, I've given concerts with almost every major symphony orchestra. And if you'll take a seat, I'll show you the way I play the violin when I'm not just fooling around. Thank you. May I have my Stradivarius, please?
This guy really works you to death.
Now, Dr. Rubin, I'll play one of the numbers I do in my concerts. It's the Mendelssohn Concerto in E minor. If you please.
The Jack Benny Special has been brought to you by Timex, world's largest manufacturer of watches. Timex, the dependable watch, precision made to wear with confidence. Timex, the fashionable watch, style to wear with pride. Two important reasons why more people buy Timex than any other watch in the world. Also appearing tonight on our program were Ramo Pisani and Tommy Farrell. This is Bill Baldwin speaking.